Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a little chat about why your comments matter to me so much and matter to the universe at large. And I really mean that seriously. First of all, I just have to say from my heart, I love you folks. I really do. You are the best people in the world. I mean, you have such a fund of knowledge, of enthusiasm, of taste, cultivation, all of those things. Even the ones of you that like curse at me and whatnot. I think it's just marvelous. There's a fabulous community of music lovers out there. And although we like to bitch and moan and all that stuff, what we really like to do is share our love of music. And you do it so wholeheartedly and so completely naturally and unaffectedly. And I get weepy thinking about it. I really do. I'm going to get like sentimental. It's terrible. I know, but I'm an old man now. And these things really matter to me. But more to the point, I know I delete lots of comments and all that stuff, but I really want to take a moment to explain to you why I think your comments are so important and why they matter. And I read every one of them. And there are like 2,500 videos just about now. And that's a lot of comments every day and a lot of time in it. But I'm trying to curate a social history, if you call it that, of the classical music recording industry and of our experience of classical music culture. I'm a historian by training. I have 2 master's degrees in history. I taught at Stanford University. My topic was modern Europe, modern European cultural history. And so, that was what interested me. And I come from a family of history buffs and history majors. And one of the things that really has struck me about our modern life is that things don't get written down anymore. When you look at what resources are available to historians of the future to try and understand what happened in a given era, there were documents. People wrote letters. People saved letters. I know you must have read all those histories where, on their deathbed, someone requests that all of my letters be burned. Brahms did that. All of his letters should be burned. Everything should be destroyed. Of course, nobody did, or sometimes they did, but most of the time people saved the stuff. And so we have written records of what people were thinking, what they were saying, what was going on in their normal daily lives. But with the advent of telephones, first of all, and digital technology, even more so, people don't have to write anything. Or you text, you twit, you just, there's a line, a thing, you can talk freely. So much information is being lost. And one of the things that fascinates me about our classical music culture is who's involved, how we find out about it, how we share information, what our experiences of it are. This was really driven home to me by your responses, your marvelous, wonderful, articulate responses to the video on how I discovered Tchaikovsky. When I ask you how you discovered Tchaikovsky, I think these particular videos, especially, and the give and take that we have about how we encountered a composer or a piece of music and what it meant to us and what we were doing as we were growing up and how we were growing up, I think this is all really precious information. I think it's information that shouldn't be lost. Maybe I'm being ridiculously vain and flattering myself to say that maybe in 10,000 years, if digibits survive, we don't know. YouTube may be bought by some company and closed down and everything destroyed, but somewhere out there, this information will be preserved. And what we have is a treasure trove of experience, of people's personal experience of music, of classical music, but of music generally, and also the circumstances, how we were raised, who our parents were, what we did when we were young. This is all of those quotidian details that you may think aren't important and don't matter, or that you just say in passing, those may be fascinating. They may provide valuable information to future generations wondering what we were doing and why and how we did it. And that's because I guess it's the history buff in me, but I find those boring details to be really, really, really interesting. And that's one of the reasons I edit the comment section so heavily. I want valuable stuff to survive. And by valuable, I mean a sincere opinion that's explained, or a little story that has some details filled in. I'm not talking about essays and dissertations. I mean, some of you tend to write kind of long, I just mean pithy and effective paragraphs, a paragraph or two, that talk about the subject at hand, and do it in a personal way, because every one of us is different and every one of us is interesting in some way, really genuinely. And even if you don't have a lot of time and you just contribute a few lines here and there, or if you do it and they don't make the final cut, I mean, don't be offended by that. It's just that I really want there to be a body of reference material that people can go through. I think personally that a lot of your comments on the videos are vastly more valuable than the actual videos, or the video's principal value is that it elicits the comments, because you never know if somebody sees them and has a question about how do I get into this piece of music, or what performance am I going to enjoy, that it's your comments that are going to unlock the door to future generations of music lovers, to new listeners who are looking for guidance. And I really think over the past couple of years, as this has developed, you folks have come to, I think, understand that we all have an obligation to try and be helpful, genuinely helpful, to those who are looking to share in our love and passion for music. And so I'm incredibly grateful and deeply moved and touched by your contributions. You're making this channel something, I think, extremely special, and something and special in a way that goes way beyond just the normal, I like this, he's an asshole, this is, you know what I mean, the kind of junk you usually find online, and which the internet is full of, and lots of opinions. This one is stupid, I like that one. We're not doing that. We're having thoughtful discussions and providing reams of relevant and just marvelous information and detail about how music affects us and interacts with us in our daily lives. And I just think that's marvelous. I hope you do too. I hope you feel that you're engaged in something that's really, really extraordinary, and that's going to be permanent, or as permanent as digibits can be, and useful to future generations of music lovers, especially with everything changing so much in the music industry, and the way music is being disseminated and received by people. It's a whole different world out there. And those of us who were fortunate enough to hang out and grow up in the past 20 or 30 years, maybe 40 years, when the record industry exploded, we have a really unique fund of information, because we had a unique ability to be exposed to a vast range of music and recordings that's now all just getting dumped in a clump on the web. We were exposed to it in a far more organized and systematic way. And so the knowledge that we have is valuable. And when we're gone, it's gone. Who is there who's ever going to have the same experience we did in the same way that we had it? There's nobody. I mean, there will be new experiences, different ways of being exposed to it and encountering the classics. But I think our particular era, the one that we dealt with since like 1960, has been a very, very special one, and one that needs to be summarized and cataloged and described and analyzed, and you're doing that. We're doing it together, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I just hope we can keep doing it, because it's a truly extraordinary experience for me, first of all, and I think it's going to really matter. I could see somebody doing a dissertation on some recording or some reception of something, or the way people listened and perceived music. So when they're doing it in a totally different way in the future and wondering how we did it now. And that's what we're doing. And so I'm perpetually grateful. And I just wanted to take a moment to just talk about that a bit and thank you deeply, all of you. So keep on listening, friends, and take care.